Thursday night football was a good one between the Saints and the Cowboys, with the Cowboys ultimately taking away the victory 27-17 against Taysom Hill and his first start for the 2021 season. Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of Time2Football. My name is Hassan Khan, the host of this channel that we like to call Time2Football. Glad you guys are joining us for this wonderful Friday morning. It's towards the end of the week. In the words of Rebecca Black, it's Friday, party for the weekend. Looking forward to the weekend, whatever she says. But you guys are taking a little bit of a break from work as well as joining us in the live chat. I see you guys commenting right now. Dan is saying good morning from Montreal, as always. David Gerber saying yo-yo, and then you're asking your fantasy football question. I get to your fantasy football questions towards the end of the show. Probably here in the next 20 to 30 minutes, I'll be getting to your questions. Ruby also saying, looks like we should have started Hill. Yeah, I was in that dilemma actually last night. Because, you know, you go on that roller coaster of like, oh, man, 4 interceptions. Dude, he was like putting up 16, 17, 18 fantasy points. And then all of a sudden, boom, minus 5 points. Just like that. And then Deontay Harris came from the dead and gave the Saints a little bit of hope and saved the fantasy day for Taysom Hill. So I picked him up just in case, because you never know, but I didn't start him. I did start CeeDee Lamb, though, and Michael Gallup. So I was proud about that. But yeah, you guys are joining us in the chat, so I appreciate you guys going ahead and leaving your comments and everything. I will get to you guys here in a bit. But first, what we like to do is we like to talk about NFL news and notes that's going around the league. Let me go ahead and pull up. Here it is. The little graphic right here. So Friday's NFL news and notes. Okay, so I chuckle a bit because Antonio Brown is going through something right now, and he has officially been suspended for misrepresented vaccination status. I don't know what that means. I think that just means, hey, he lied about his vaccination status, maybe. Maybe it's a little bit different than Aaron Rodgers, where Aaron Rodgers was like, I didn't lie. I didn't lie. Whereas Antonio Brown might have. So what it looks like right now is that Antonio Brown has been suspended for 3 games. He's not going to be playing until December 26th against the Carolina Panthers. That's when he's eligible to be playing. He's still going through that injury with an ankle injury. Bruce Arians coming out and saying, listen, Antonio Brown is not going to be available for the next 2 games. And I tried to do a little bit of research. I was like, all right, well, does this mean like games that he's eligible to play? Like after the ankle injury, and pretty much he's eligible to play anytime. So really, while he's nursing this ankle injury, he's just suspended for maybe 1 more game than that. So, I mean, I don't think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are really taking it as like a loss, really, because they knew that they were going to be without Antonio Brown for a couple of weeks, but that's okay. That's okay. Antonio Brown has suspended for 3 games because of misrepresented vaccination status. Apparently lied. Phillip Lindsay, up-and-coming Miami Dolphins running back, had 12 carries last week. Ooh, was involved in the game plan, and Brian Flores came out and says, moving forward, Phillip Lindsay is going to get more and more work in the offense. Well, it may have to wait for just 1 week because he was a non-participant in practice after being limited on Wednesday. So whenever that happens, they're trending downward. We saw this with Ryan Ramczyk earlier this week with the Saints offensive tackle. Limited on Monday, Tuesday, did not practice, eventually was out. Phillip Lindsay is trending in that direction. Someone else that is mimicking the same amount of practice participation, James Robinson, dealing with that heel injury, that bruised heel that we know about, and then also dealing with another injury as well. I believe it's a shoulder that he's dealing with on top of that. But anyways, James Robinson did not practice after being limited on Wednesday, did not practice on Thursday, very much like Phillip Lindsay, very much like Ryan Ramczyk. Both of these players have the potential of missing this weekend's game. Now, for James Robinson, for like more star, talented, like your workhorse back kind of players, a lot of people do this for rest issues. They just want to give them a little bit more rest. So James Robinson, maybe there is a chance that he does play this weekend, but, you know, we have to wait until Friday. Friday is when they release their injury report, see who's in, who's out, and then we'll go from there. Also see who's limited or not. But someone that has not practiced for a second straight day, that is J.D. McKissick, unfortunately dealing with a concussion, suffered a neck injury against the Seattle Seahawks on Monday. It's officially ruled as a concussion, so he's going to go through concussion protocol, but he did not practice for the last 2 days. So this is not encouraging for the Washington football team for J.D. McKissick. He's expected to be out. Jared Patterson would step in as the backup running back to Antonio Gibson if that were to happen. Someone that is going through a concussion but is practicing in full, as a matter of fact, is Pat Freiermuth. For a second consecutive day, has practiced in full, has still not cleared the concussion protocol, but we expect him to clear it just in time. Because if you're practicing in full for 2 straight days, you should be fine. And his teammate, Chase Claypool, has also been practicing in full. Yesterday, Wednesday, he was limited, dealing with a toe injury, but now he practiced full, so he's probably going to go into this weekend without an injury designation. Okay, so the Philadelphia Eagles running back situation, what's going on with that? You've got Boston Scott, Jordan Howard, Miles Sanders. All three of these guys seem like they're a little bit banged up or dealing with some sort of illness. Boston Scott is dealing with that illness, and we thought it was going to be serious, but for the second straight day, he did not practice. Now, I don't know if this is like a fatigue thing, like, Nick Sirianni saying, let's go rest you, get you ready for this weekend. I don't know. But he didn't practice for a second straight day, whereas Jordan Howard as well didn't practice for a second straight day, dealing with a knee injury. His might be a little bit more serious, whereas Miles Sanders is limited in practice for the last 2 days. So Miles Sanders is trending towards playing. Jordan Howard is trending towards not playing, and then Boston Scott pretty much in the middle, in between them. We don't know. It's probably going to be a game time decision for him. Daniel Jones, okay. Mike Lennon was reported to be starting after Daniel Jones suffered a neck strain. They were like, he's a long shot to play. But now Joe Judge and the Giants are hopeful that Daniel Jones is expected to play this Sunday against the Miami Dolphins. So Daniel Jones could be out there. Could be huge for the Giants offense. Odell Beckham Jr. hip injury, did not practice for a second consecutive day. This is huge news for the Rams offense. They are facing the Jaguars, so they might, they might be facing the Jags defense. They are going to face the Jags defense. I lost my train of thought. What was I thinking? They're facing the Jags defense, so without Odell, this could be a little bit not that big of a loss for the Rams, because you got Van Jefferson stepping in as a number 2 receiver. So Odell Beckham did not practice, dealing with a hip injury. Darrell Henderson, the running back, however, did not practice for a second consecutive day as well, dealing with a hip injury. Sean McVay said that he's hopeful that Darrell Henderson will play. He's optimistic. But then after he didn't practice for a second consecutive day, silence. You hear nothing from Sean McVay. So now it's trending towards maybe Darrell Henderson isn't going to be playing. Sony Michel would step in as the number 1 back. Justin Fields is limited for a second consecutive day, dealing with the ribs injury. Matt Nagy stated that once Justin Fields gets healthy, he's going to be the starting quarterback. And there's a chance that he could be playing this Sunday. Could be starting. Monitor status for Friday. But their wide receiver, Allen Robinson, didn't practice. Hamstring injury. More than likely he's going to be out. Darnell Mooney will take in as the number 1 wide receiver. Jalen Hurts still dealing with that ankle soreness. So it's not like a sprain. It's not like a broken bone or anything like that. It's just soreness. However, a lot of his game relies on the run game and him escaping the pocket and being more mobile. So that might be a little bit limited this weekend. However, Jalen Hurts himself has said, yeah, I am expected to play. I'm just going to play it through it. He said that early on in the week, so he doesn't think it's that big of a deal. He's just going to have to get through it. So he was limited in practice on Thursday. Darren Waller, knee injury, did not practice. So that is bad news for the Raiders, and didn't practice for a second consecutive day. Rich Bisaccia is saying that Darren Waller is going to be week to week as opposed to day to day, and this is the first time that the first week that his injury has popped up. So Darren Waller, more than likely, probably won't be playing this weekend. DeAndre Swift, so we know that he's not going to be playing this weekend. They officially haven't ruled him out, but guys, he's not going to be playing. However, for week 14, he's a long shot to play in week 14. So they already came out and said, more than likely DeAndre Swift isn't going to be playing in week 14 either. So Jamal Williams is expected to start at least the next 2 games. Melvin Gordon is 50-50 on whether or not he's going to be playing this weekend, dealing with a hip injury as well as a shoulder injury. Did not practice for 2 consecutive days. Right now, his status is looking bleak. Javonte Williams will step in as the number 1 back, which we're going to be talking about so much later on in the show. But Vic Fangio saying that it's 50-50 if Melvin Gordon can be playing this Sunday night against the Kansas City Chiefs. Sterling Shepard was limited after not practicing on Wednesday, dealing with a quad injury, whereas Kadarius Toney, dealing with a quad injury and an oblique injury, did not participate in practice. So Sterling Shepard has a chance to come back against the Miami Dolphins. And then that's it. That's actually all the NFL news and notes that we have for you guys here today. Stay tuned with the status of all these big-time players because we still don't know a lot of, who's going to be in, out, inactive, active. We want a little bit more clarity, and Friday gives us a little bit more clarity later on in the afternoon once we know who practiced and who didn't practice. That is your NFL news and notes. Now, what we talk about every Friday, PredictionStrike, the stock market for the NFL. What you do is you just buy shares of players that you think are going to go off, and if they exceed their fantasy football projection, you win some cash. If they don't meet their fantasy football projections, you'd unfortunately lose some money. But I'm here to tell you which players you need to buy and sell via PredictionStrike, the stock market of the NFL. So if you don't know about this, I encourage you guys to go over to PredictionStrike's website. You can download the app as well. Click the link in the bio of this video and use the promo code T2F. And if you deposit at least $20, you get a free share of a player as well as I do. So it's very, very fun. We've been talking about this all season long. You guys have joined in on it, and you guys are loving it. So let me first start off with players that you need to buy. We're going to talk about 3 players to buy and 3 players to sell. The first player that I want to buy, if I want to make some money, if I say, hey, this guy is a stock that I want to invest in, not just for the remainder of the season, but for the long run, for 2022, 2023, and so on. I said I'd be talking about this guy a lot, and I'm going to go ahead and start off with Javonte Williams. Guys, Melvin Gordon, we already talked about his status for this Sunday. It's bleak. We don't know. But look at the analysis. This is all I want to just go ahead and put this in your mind. Melvin Gordon is dealing with injuries. Okay, we know that. But all it will take is 1 game as a starter for Javonte Williams to take over the starting role. Fantasy points per touch is excellent. Javonte Williams has been looking like the better back than Melvin Gordon. Now, Gordon has been looking great this season, but Williams is looking better. And they want to give both of these guys a fair share amount of carries because, Gordon isn't worthy of losing a starting job. He's been looking good. Let's go ahead and switch it up. Why not? 1-2 punch. Get both of them involved. But if you give Javonte Williams 20 to 25 touches based off the production that he's been having, being on a limited 50-50 committee backfield, I'm excited about Javonte Williams. Now, he's going up 20%. Okay, his stock price is $4.95. We talked about Javonte Williams being a buy weeks ago because nobody was really talking about him. He could come up as an up-and-coming player. But his price is going up just a bit. But this is the week to buy. This is the week. You may ask yourself, is it too late to buy in on Javonte Williams? Well, I say to you, in the words of 3 Days Grace, it's not too late. It's never too late. That is player number 1 to buy. Player number 2 that you need to buy is Taysom Hill. Okay, the performance yesterday, 4 interceptions. But on a fantasy football basis, which is what PredictionStrike is based off their fantasy football projections, and how many points they scored, he was great. 20 fantasy points yesterday against the Dallas Cowboys. And a lot of that came from a safe floor of him rushing. So if you look at the analysis, great performance despite the 4 interceptions, great floor and schedule coming up. Can only get better. Next week, they got the New York Jets. They've got the Miami Dolphins later on in the schedule as well. I like Taysom Hill a lot, and I think he's going to be a good quarterback fantasy football-wise moving forward, given that his finger that he had an injury towards isn't a serious issue. The last player that I would buy in on, listen, you may not want to buy in on a kicker because you're like, hey, what's the point of this? But Randy Bullock, that's one of the things that we really pride ourselves in on Time2Football is we talk a lot about kickers in fantasy football and give you starts and sits and who's going to break out at the kicker position, whereas a lot of other people are like, kickers don't matter. when in fact it does. Like we call the breakout of like Evan McPherson, for example. We know that Daniel Carlson, we've been encouraging you guys to pick him up. And Randy Bullock is one of those kickers as well that's very underrated, especially in the last few weeks where he hasn't been looking good. But the Titans offense in general has been looking good. We expect that to turn around. We don't think the Titans offense is going to look like that every single week because for the remainder of the season or for the whole season, Randy Bullock has scored double-digit fantasy points in 6 games this season. His recent struggles shouldn't last. So Randy Bullock, I mean, if you want to take a shot at a kicker, double-digit points. I mean, I don't know how many points is going to be projected in Week 14. He has a bye this week, but I doubt it's going to be double digits. So I would take Randy Bullock as a buy. Now, players that you need to get rid of just because their stock is going a little bit downhill. One is Aaron Jones. Okay, stud fantasy football running back, but A.J. Dillon is working in now in a timeshare committee and involved, if you look at the analysis of Aaron Jones, involved in timeshare with A.J. Dillon. His injury allowed for Dillon to shine. The Packers will involve Dillon more at the expense of Jones and his touches. I mean, if you look at the last 2 games, I know he's been injured, but the last 2 games that Aaron Jones has played, I think it was like 10 touches or 10 carries, 7 carries. Like, they're working in A.J. Dillon more because they know how good of a back A.J. Dillon is. So this is only going to mean that Aaron Jones is not going to meet those 16, 17, 18 fancy points that we all project him to get every single week. Instead, he may only get like 10 or 11, which is still good, but A.J. Dillon is going to eat into the touches of Aaron Jones. That's why I have Aaron Jones as a sell. The next player, and this is based off of the last 2-3 weeks while Alvin Kamara has been out, especially yesterday, Mark Ingram is a player that I want to get rid of. Because if you look at the analysis, even with Kamara out, Ty Montgomery is taking snaps away from Mark Ingram. Has little value even as a starter. Okay, so he was technically the starting running back yesterday against the Dallas Cowboys. Didn't do much. They like to work in a lot of different backs. So Ty Montgomery is one of those guys. When Tony Jones gets healthy as well, he's going to be another one of those guys. And when Kamara is healthy, I mean, Mark Ingram is going to work in a complementary role, but he's not going to be anything of value. He's getting older in age, so long-term stock as well. Mark Ingram just isn't that player that you want to buy. And the last player, we talked about Javonte Williams, and his counterpart, Melvin Gordon, is unfortunately a player that you need to sell just because Javonte Williams is expected to get the bulk of the carries moving forward. Now, this is all speculation, but whenever we've speculated things here on Time2Football, we base it off of stats. This isn't just like I think this is going to happen. No, this is based off of like trends and how each player has been performing, and how each player has been performing in the case of Javonte Williams is barring a setback, barring any sort of injury, Javonte Williams is going to eat against the Kansas City Chiefs if Melvin Gordon does not play in this game. Look at the analysis. His injuries, the hip injury and the shoulder injury for Melvin Gordon comes at a bad time. Javonte Williams will get the majority of touches this week, even if Melvin Gordon were to play, because I think they're going to be limiting him. So this will be an audition for Williams to get more touches moving forward, and I think he's going to excel because Javonte Williams has been looking great fantasy points per touch, and Melvin Gordon is the last player that I would sell. So those are 3 players to buy and 3 players to sell via PredictionStrike, the stock market of fantasy football. Again, use that promo code T2F, sign up, start playing, click the link in the description, and you get a free share of a player if you use that promo code. Sign up, start playing. All right, now, what have we got here? We've got PrizePicks, another one of the sponsors that we talk about that you guys are in love with. Now, if you don't know about PrizePicks, basically it's just you take the overs and unders of stat lines and fantasy football projections on this website. And if you are right, you win some money. If you're wrong, you lose some money. But I'm here to help you guys. It's so simple. It's so much fun. And you can sign up and start playing. If you click that link in the description, use the promo code T2F, and they match your deposit of up to $100. So put in $100, you get $100 that you can use to play on PrizePicks and make more money. And I'm here to help you guys with that. I'm here to help you make some money. So first, let's talk about some players that we want to take the unders on via their fantasy football projections, and then we're going to be talking about players that we want to take the overs on. So 3 players that we want to take the unders on. The first player that we want to talk about is Joe Burrow. Cincinnati Bengals quarterback the last 3 weeks has taken a little bit of a step back with Joe Mixon really coming onto the scene. I think it's like 6 fantasy points, 7 fantasy points, 9 fantasy points. That's been the amount of points that he's been scoring in the last 3 games. And now he's projected to put up 17 fantasy points against the Chargers. Is that possible? Yes. Is it probable? More than likely, no. Because the Chargers are top 6 against quarterbacks in fantasy football this year. I'm 75% confident that Joe Burrow does not put up 17 fantasy points. This might be a little bit more of a backseat, especially the Chargers' run defense has been good, so I think they're going to feature Joe Mixon in the run game a lot more. The next player that we want to talk about that you want to take the under on, you got to be talking about Leonard Fournette. Hey, Leonard, 4 touchdowns, 4 tutties. 17.5 fantasy points is his projection. Now, this is PPR, so because it's PPR, this is possible for it to happen. Against the Atlanta Falcons, where it's just a bad matchup for the Falcons, and this is a good matchup for Fournette. Yeah, sure, he could exceed that, and that's why I'm only 70% confident. But I'm going to take the under on that because I'm going to look at the stats of Leonard Fournette and see that Fournette hasn't scored 17.5 PPR fantasy points since week 6, outside of the game that he had against the Indianapolis Colts. So I'm going to go ahead and lean in with the trends, and more than likely what's going to happen is that Leonard Fournette, listen, on PrizePicks, sometimes you got to go with the under on fantasy points where it's just a high amount of fantasy points for a player. And I think after his 4 touchdown game, PrizePicks is saying, okay, Fournette is going to score a lot of fantasy points, so you may want to take the under on that. You have a higher chance of hitting that. So Fournette is player number 2. Now, player number 3 that I want to take the under on, let's go ahead and talk about the main man, QB1 in Buffalo. That is Josh Allen. 265 passing yards is his projection. Now, this is against the Patriots. The Patriots. So I don't think that he's going to really exceed that or meet that mark because the Patriots, they haven't allowed that many yards since week 6, since an overtime game against the Dallas Cowboys to Dak Prescott. That is 6 straight games that the Patriots have held their quarterbacks to under 265 passing yards. And they've faced some not so bad quarterbacks in that span. So Allen could be relying more on his legs as well. I'm 75% confident that Josh Allen does not pass for 265 yards. Now, let's talk about some players that you want to take the overs on because, you know, we talk about the unders, but how about the overs for Myles Gaskin, who's really come onto the scene the last couple of weeks as far as fantasy football goes, against the Jets, against the Panthers, and now he faces the Giants, which is a pretty good matchup, and he's projected to rush for 45.5 rushing yards. I don't know whether it's that low because Gaskin against the Panthers only rushed for 49 yards, but I mean, based off the volume that Gaskin is getting, he had 16 carries for 49 yards, which is not good. We admit that. Like, that's not good. So he's only averaging like 3 yards a carry this season, but given the amount of volume that he gets and how this game is going to be, it's not going to be out of hand. Myles Gaskin is expected to run with the ball maybe 15 to 20 times. I mean, 45 yards, that's kind of probable to hit. 3 yards a carry, 15 carries, 16 carries, he already meets that projection right there. And I'm 80% confident that is going to happen, especially Philip Lindsay. He's expected to miss this game, so not really much competition at running back. Now, the next player that you want to take the over on is Kennygalde. He's projected 8 fantasy points. Again, keep in mind, PPR. And the reason why we have Kennygalde, who has not been looking good, to say it very, very nicely, is that he's averaging, or he's getting 7 targets last week. Last week he had 7 targets. So the Giants are expected to feed him the ball more because Joe Judge, one of the reasons why he wanted to move on from Jason Garrett is because you have one of your best players at the wide receiver position at 4-year, $72 million contract, and you're not involving him in the offense at all. Well, last week, they tried to make it a point by giving him 7 targets and trying to get him more involved in the offense. Get this offense going. So let's say he gets 7 targets again. If that's 4 receptions out of those 7 targets, all he has to get is 40 yards off those 4 receptions. 5 receptions, 30 yards. You get what I'm saying? I'm 75% confident that Kennygalde meets that projection. Now, the last one I would take the over on, and this is based off of absolutely nothing because PrizePicks hasn't put Javonte Williams on their website just yet. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you that regardless of whatever the PrizePicks projection is, whether it's 13 fantasy points, whether it's 60 rushing yards, 3 receptions, whatever it may be, I don't know yet because it's not on their website. But I want to go ahead and just put in your ear that come Saturday, come Sunday morning, when you're making your PrizePicks entries, keep in mind Javonte Williams, no matter what he gets, whatever the PrizePicks projection is, he's going to hit the over on that. And I'm 85% confident, even if I don't even know what that projection is, just because Melvin Gordon is going to be limited if he plays, or if he doesn't play, that Javonte Williams is going to eat up. Keep that in mind. Javonte Williams is going to have a big day. And that is 3 players to take the under on and 3 players to take the over on via PrizePicks. Now, what we do on this channel is we don't just talk a big game about it. We actually show you live on air, and we actually put up real money on these entries. So let me go ahead and flip over to my computer and show you this website right here, PrizePicks.com. Again, click the link in the description. Use the promo code T2F. And let's go ahead and take the overs and unders on the players that I talked about. Okay, so we can only make 5 at max in 1 entry. And if we get all 5 correct, we 10 times our money. Now, if you only get 4 out of 5, you still double your money. So, I mean, the odds are in your favor. So I'm going to go ahead and put in some money on, for instance, we talked about Joe Burrow, fantasy score, that he's going to get under 17 fantasy points. So let's go ahead and find Joe Burrow here real quick. And then let's talk about Leonard Fournette was another player. All right. And then Josh Allen, if we go to single stat projections passing yards, we go to Josh Allen. He plays Monday night, so he's going to be at the bottom. And then we go to Myles Gaskin, who we projected as a rushing yards was going to be over 45. And we'll go back to fantasy score because we have Kennygalde as well to get over 8 fantasy points. So let me go ahead and do this. It pulls up on the side. Joe Burrow, 17, we're going to take the under. Leonard Fournette, the under. Josh Allen, the under. Myles Gaskin, over. And Kennygalde, over. All right? And we can put in as much as we want. So let me go ahead and just put in 10. Why not? Just because, if I go ahead and hit all 5, I win $100, So let me go ahead and place that entry, and boom, just like that. That simple. So PrizePicks.com, use the promo code T2F, sign up, start playing. So much fun. All right. Now we've got viewer questions that you guys are leaving in the comments. I'm going to spend the next few minutes just answering these questions that you guys have been leaving. Let me go ahead and acknowledge some of you guys. So, David, you said Heineke or Russ this week. It is kind of a toss-up between those two guys. Heineke has a better matchup, but Russell Wilson is the whole offense. Heineke is relying on the run game to open things up. Washington is relying on the run game. Antonio Gibson, I don't know what this motion is, but I'm going to go ahead and keep on making this motion while I go ahead and answer this question. Heineke is in a run-heavy offense. Russell Wilson is the offense. So I would start Russell Wilson. Good morning. Choose one. Choose one. That's your demand. New life. Half PPR, Hollywood Brown, Jalen Waddle, or Van Jefferson. Waddle. No. Whoa. Marquise Brown. Let's go Marquise Brown. So I picked up the Green Bay Packers defense and put it on the bench ready for next week. Thanks for the tip. Yes, good job, dude. Good job. The Packers defense, top 10 defense. Can't go wrong with them. They said the dude had a foot thing and then runs for 100. David Gerber. Oh, talk about Taysom Hill. Yeah. Has a foot. I was like, Rex Ryan? What? Yeah, so runs for 100 yards. And this is why I love Taysom Hill, because speaking of the Packers defense, I picked up the Packers defense for next week, right? And then I heard Taysom Hill was starting, and I already have Cam Newton as a backup quarterback because I have Jalen Hurts, and I need a quarterback for Week 14 for Jalen Hurts bye. And I was like, oh, Cam Newton against the Falcons. That's going to be a good matchup, right? Well, then I heard about Taysom Hill and his news about him starting, and I was like, even though I picked up the Packers defense for next week, let me go ahead and drop the Packers defense and pick up Taysom Hill. And if Taysom Hill does bad, then I can drop Taysom Hill the following week. No big deal. But if Taysom Hill does good, then I'll just drop Cam Newton. You know what I'm saying? And have Taysom Hill start in Week 14. And I like Hill a lot just because he has a safe floor rushing. I mean, that hurdle that he had. Yeah, I don't think his foot was really bothering him in that sense. So, I mean, moving forward, Taysom Hill is going to be a good quarterback in fantasy football. Uh, Rubio saying now he has a finger thing. Yeah, so we got to monitor that status as well. Antoine Smith, good morning. Great show. Good luck for Week 13. I'm leaning towards starting Logan Thomas over Kyle Pitts this week at tight end and Miles Sanders over Ramondre Stevenson in the flex. Who would you start? I would start Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts over Logan Thomas. Just because I'm looking at the 5 reception, 73-yard game that he had against Tampa Bay back in Week 3, I believe it was. So, I mean, PPR, that was double-digit points right there. Kyle Pitts, I mean, he's, what is he, second in the NFL as far as tight ends go and yards this season? I mean, I would start Kyle Pitts. Jack, hey, Hassan, would you go Mooney or Ayuk this week? I'm going Ayuk. I am going Ayuk just because I'm more comfortable with the 49ers offense. They might be like the same. They might get the same amount of targets, both being number 1 receivers this week. Darnell Mooney has been looking great, and I don't think he's a bad play at all. Ayuk, though, like it's without Debo and a better offense, yeah, I'm taking Ayuk for sure. Miguel, good morning, guys. Today is my birthday. Have a good Friday, everyone. Happy birthday, Miguel. Happy birthday. Dude, I hope you have a good one down there in Puerto Rico. That's awesome, man. Thanks for tuning in. Ingram burned me. Luckily, my opponent started Zeke. Haha, take that, Zeke owner. Yeah, Pollard really took off. James, happy birthday, Miguel. We got to, dude, everybody drop a happy birthday, Miguel, for Miguel. He's Time2Football's #1 fan. He joins us in every single stream. A lot of you guys join us in all these streams. But Miguel, like, discovered us when we shouldn't have been discovered. Back when did I have long hair back then when you watched? Probably not. But Miguel, thank you for joining in. Rubio saying he submitted a pic of a fake vaccine card. Rodgers told his team he was unvaxxed. He just misled the media. Okay, yeah. Thanks for the clarity right there. Yeah, because I knew that he submitted that fake card, so that's the difference. Yeah. I never said I wasn't vaccinated. I never said that. Oh man, Rodgers is so smart. Gosh, he's brilliant. He's so brilliant. Whereas Antonio Brown paid $500 for that. Javonte Williams or Devontae Freeman. Any question that is asking me new life about Javonte Williams, I'm going to go ahead and say Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams. All the way. Rodgers played word games and the media was butthurt. Yeah. Rodgers is a smart man. He's smarter than all of us. Lewis, good morning, brother. Alexander saying news on Henderson. Yeah, I don't know if you tuned into the beginning of the show, but Henderson did not practice for a second straight day. This is trending towards more than likely. If I had to say he's going to start or not, I'm going to say that he's not going to start. That's just my opinion, though. I'm in a full PPR league. Should I plug in Breida as a flex? They are playing the Patriots. Yeah, it's kind of tough. I have Breida as a sit, and I have Breida on my team as well, but I'm sitting him. I got Myles Gaskin in the flex over Matt Breida this week. If Sony starts, Sony or Damian Harris, you got to go Sony Michel against the Jags. Got to take Sony. Had Cowboys defense on my bench. It's okay, though. Like, I mean, no one could have really predicted that. Like, they might have been decent, but no one could have really predicted that much. But the Dolphins, like, you can't go wrong with the Dolphins. Like, I mean, against the Giants, the Dolphins defense the last 4 games have been looking great as well. Christian, CEH, Jacobs, Barkley, or Gaskin, PPR. I'm going to lean in towards, Man, all right, Jacobs. Go with Jacobs. Sad about the under on Josh Allen. Hope you're wrong. Yeah. Hey, if you own Josh Allen, hey, how about this? Let's say that I'm right, but he rushes for 100 yards. We'd be happy for that. We'd be happy with that. I'm not taking the under on Fournette. That game going to be over at halftime, and Lenny will grind it out. Yeah, possibly. It could happen. It really could. I'm just looking at the stats of How many points? How many times has Fournette scored 17 and a half fantasy points? Not often. Not often. So I have him as a start, but it could be like 13, 14, 15 points as opposed to 17 and a half. And that's what you got to do when you're picking overs and unders. You got to go with, okay, who's projected a lot of points, because your probability, even though they might hit it, your chances are higher of them getting under, just because, anything could happen. Like Ronald Jones could come in and be the hot hand, or Leonard Fournette might suffer an injury, might be taken out of the game completely, might just miss like a quarter. Like anything could happen. So your chances are higher with him not hitting that. MKS asking a couple questions. Damian Harris or Gaskin? I'm taking Gaskin. Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool, Devontae Smith, Brandon Cooks start to full point PPR. I'm going to start Brandon. Hold on. Let me think about this. Okay, I'm taking Brandon Cooks. Yeah, Brandon Cooks is one. And then I'm going to take, as the second, Chase Claypool. What's up? Would you still prefer Logan Thomas over Zach Ertz? Yes, I would. Dan Schwab, Sutton, Chenault, Galladay, or Bateman at flex. We've got. I'm gonna go Bateman. Yeah, I'm gonna go Bateman. I'm not excited about it, but I would go Bateman. If Sony starts him or Barkley. Oh man. You know when everybody was like, Barkley is buy low, and I was like, no, he's not. Because I got a lot of crap for saying Barkley is not a buy low, but Antonio Gibson is. And everybody was like, no, Barkley is better. Antonio Gibson has been better this season than Saquon Barkley, but people didn't want to believe it because they were like, oh, Antonio Gibson sucks, when him sucking was being a top 20 running back. And now in the last 3 weeks, he's a top 7 running back. So anyways, that's my little vent right there. So if Sony starts, I would take Sony over Barkley. I can't trust this Giants. Barkley has to give me a game where he looks great in order for him to be in my lineup first. But it's saying happy birthday, Miguel. Appreciate you guys doing that for him. Juan, Claypool or Ayuk? I would go Ayuk. Elijah Moore or OBJ? OBJ more likely probably won't play, so I'm going to go with Elijah Moore. Just came in to wish, and I'm wishing you a happy birthday as well. Yes, love it. Sup, this Bucklow? Oh, your name is Bucklow. Sup, this Bucklow. Good morning, sir. Hey, Bucklow. Appreciate you giving the clarity on your name. Your thoughts on Parker from the Dolphins as a flex? Not like it. I'm not liking it. I got to see more out of Parker, because he just returned from injury. So let's wait and see before we put him into the lineup. What's good, Drew? What's good? Scott, Harris, or Stevenson half PPR? I would go Boston Scott all the way. I do have to sign off here, but let me go ahead and finish it out. Francisco is the last question I'm going to be answering down at the bottom. But Eagles or Dolphins? DFS. Thanks, man. I'm going to go with Miami Dolphins. I'm going with the Dolphins. Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, or Ramondre Stevenson PPR? Well, oh man, that sucks about Sanders and Scott, dude. I don't know who's going to be the hot hand. It's been looking like Scott. But Miles Sanders is a starter, so I'm going to lean in towards Sanders over Boston Scott and Ramondre Stevenson. Thinking of starting DK over Thielen. Am I crazy? No, you're not crazy, because you're probably having that thought like, man, he's been so bad that he has to be good, right? I had that thought as well. But let me go ahead and say that I would still start Thielen to be on the safe side. Still starting to be on the safe side. 3, Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, or Jamal Williams. Whatever. If it's Jamal Williams, Javonte Williams, whichever one it is, start them. Elijah Mitchell, start them. So that's 2 right there. So between Sanders, CEH, and Sony Michel, I would go CEH. Allen or Mahomes? I guess you got to go with Mahomes. The Patriots defense, best defense as of late, so can't go wrong with that. Patterson, Javonte, or Harris? Ooh, between Patterson and Javonte for me. If it's PPR, I'd go Patterson. If it's standard, I'd go Javonte. And then the last one, Sony Michel, James Robinson, Javonte Williams. I'm picking 2. Javonte and James Robinson practice is scaring me. Did not practice, so I'm going to go Sony Michel in that matchup. So that is it. That is it for this episode of Time to Football. We're very, very appreciative of you guys joining us every single day. Every single day. Hey, it's the weekend. It's the freaking weekend, baby. About to have me some fun. 2000s babies know about that. So, like, subscribe. We're going to be back on Monday, but we've got a special fantasy football Q&A coming up this Sunday, so make sure you guys join us for that, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. With all that said, thank you guys for watching, and remember,